peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Fellow Africans, every time we are challenged on matters of importance, there is always a path for redemption. The only thing that Kenya needs at the moment is redemption. It's a redemption strategy that can create a coexistence of all the people, all the tribes, all regions, and all shades of opinions. Challenges come at an hour where a country is on a test. Test runs are always the most crucial points. That's where experiments collapse. Kenya is not an experiment. Kenya is a nation that has existed for 56 years. The challenges, therefore, should not make us hate each other. These challenges should unite us, should unite the people of Kenya to push forward an agenda, to follow their president, President Uhuru Kenyatta, in delivering the agenda for a better Kenya. A better Kenya will produce a better East Africa. A better East Africa will produce a better Africa. The challenges, the obstacles that come amongst us are many, but we can overcome them through discussion, a wider range of discussion, wider disagreements to agree and disagree, to agree again and disagree to disagree. But we should not form clubs, units, militias, hatred of that nature that can take us to the history. Germany today is Germany because it doesn't want to go to the path of the history. Germany goes to the path of development. Over 70 years ago, Germany was at war with the entire world. Today, it is on the path of resolving some of the problems that come. I want us to stand in the place of Germany and look forward and backwards. See what we can do here, but not yearn for what is in Rome. What is in Rome is safeguarded. But in Sicily, which is Kenya, we need to build a foundation for the younger generation that we are going to live here today. The many who have no employment, the poverty, the ignorance, the diseases that kill the people of Africa. We need to find a modium of operation. Modus operandi. The only modus operandi on this is a united, peaceful Kenya. A Kenya united by values of respect and adherence to the rule of law. A Kenya without schemes of elimination or fiction of elimination or murders written by themselves. A Kenya without any hatred against the president, A Kenya that supports the constitutional roots that the 2010 constitution of yours brought. That is how Africa will rise and shine again. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us. And of course, we had our earlier show where we were not able to look at the BBI in depth. Being a Monday, we know a lot of things happened over the weekend, and so we were going to look at it right now. In the morning we couldn't because we had other issues that we were looking at during the newspaper reviews there. So thank you so much for finding time to join us today. So we were not able to look at the headline that was on the Standard newspaper. So that is where we shall start our conversation this morning, even as the BBI, or rather the referendum debate rages on. And on the panel this morning is Douglas Kirimi from Meru. Douglas, good morning.
Good morning, Miriam. Good morning to our crew. Good morning to all our viewers across the world. Good afternoon and good evening from wherever they are watching us from.
All right, very well. And also joining us from Nairobi is Daniel Wesonga. Daniel, good morning. All right, so while Daniel is setting up there, he shall be with us very shortly. Let's just read this story on the front pages of the Standard newspaper. The road to Damascus, no contest until the day he was hosted by President Kenyatta at his State House 2 weeks ago. Ruto was determined to stop BBI reggae. Since then, his resolve has gradually softened. Only two issues now separate him from a yes vote: the election of women MPs and a multiple choice referendum. Still, he is all yes inside out, and they have outlined what here they are calling, the Standard newspaper, the evolving journey of DP. And the first one is on November 18th, where they're saying Ruto meets president for talks on State House, says he loves the country enough never to be a part of any war, or flies out to Dubai to season meet with Assault Bay. I don't know what that even means. And on November 25th, Ruto skips launch of BBI signatures drive at KICC, later tweets to say there is still a real chance at consensus. And on November 27th, the DP for the first time emerges to celebrate an aspect of BBI bill, says Article 11, Sub-Article A, will anchor ordinary people's daily struggles. And on November 28th, just the day after that, Ruto announces that he has a duty to assist President, says document improved and work on to avoid a divisive contest. And on December 3rd, the DP meets allies, allows them to vent on the issue, a long-winded statement praising some BBI aspects and issues new demands. And as we know, those demands were about 5 of them, but right now apparently it's only 2, and that is the election of women MPs and a multiple choice referendum. And the story is on page 8 of the Standard newspaper, just before we start our conversation there, even as we shall look at other players and what they said and what are their stand over the BBI. And after that, we shall go to Kibwana and also see what else other people said over the weekend there. So, to Ruto, the said changes were not a priority, especially in the face of COVID-19 that is ravaging the country. The DP and his team felt the referendum would cost billions of shillings and could help ordinary people. The changes were also meant to benefit a few people in a bloated government. So that was his initial, argument there. And so the changes would also kill competition and undermine democracy by accommodating losers of a political contest. I think that is in line with the expanded executive. In expression, company, and form, he was raring to rock the BBI and spoil the party for its proponents. At public forums, he built the groundwork for fighting the drive, opposing it in measured doses, while allowing his lieutenants to complete the picture for him. Officially, however, he stepped up the part of a loyal mate acting consonance whenever he was in the presence of his boss, President Uhuru Kenyatta, and from the State House meeting to yesterday, in between a lot of somersaulting, Ruto had turned many degrees and is today a big opponent of competition in democracy And all right, a couple of issues there that have been brought up by the Standard there has highlighted. But I'll start with you, Douglas. This story by the Standard, they're saying DP has been somersaulting.
Miriam, the Constitution of 2010 in the Republic of Kenya.
Continue, just continue.
The Constitution of the Republic of Kenya in 2010.
Continue.
The Constitution of the Republic of Kenya in 2010, Miriam, has created a situation where we can be able to have a deputy president who can be able to come out and also very clearly oppose their bosses and all that. I think one of the things that was hidden in our constitution when we were told that it is one of the most progressive constitutions across the world is that we are having a situation where we have a deputy president who opposes their bosses, and also a deputy president who has an imagined some form of imagined constituency of people that he thinks that should receive orders from him. So we have a deputy who has created a sense of power around him and also around his office in Karen, who thinks that Kenyans should receive orders from him. Actually, he retaliated the same thing in Matungu when they were burying the former MP for Matungu, the immediate MP for Matungu. He said he represents millions of Kenyans. He did not mention the ticket under which he was elected together with the President of the Republic of Kenya, President Uhuru Kenyatta. It is under whose ticket that he has the mandate to be able to control the people that he said he represents. So we have a deputy who has created two centers of power, one center that is led by President Uhuru Kenyatta, and also a deputy Miriam that has a control of an imagined population of a constituency that he thinks should listen and take orders from him. Reminding you, Miriam, today that we have a deputy that is very defiant across the world. I have not seen a defiant deputy president like the vice president of the Republic of Kenya. Across the world, Miriam, I read a lot on history. I read about presidents. I read about their deputies and prime ministers. This one that we have is a problem that I think the 2010 Constitution did not encompass a situation where we can have a deputy that speaks for millions of Kenyans, whereas the president is also speaking for the millions of Kenyans. We have a deputy who has a tendency of creating a perceived centers of power in the Republic of Kenya. So, Miriam, I think the newspaper is not wrong. Whoever wrote that article should also be promoted and be given a bonus this month, this Christmas, because the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya is not only somersaulting, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya is hypocritical and also an hybrid political conman that we would not wish to have in our constitution, in our constitutional processes. Again, we should not have such leaders in our electoral processes, and also leaders that are having an habit of also coming together and also growing to a point where, Miriam, we can have a deputy who is also talking from his one side of the mouth and also another side of his mouth. We cannot continue that way, Miriam. And I believe by the grace of God, we shall be able to rectify that come 2022, chase away Deputy President William Ruto, because he is one of the people who are teaching our children virtues that are not correct, virtues of hypocrisy, conmanship, and also not honesty, because Miriam, we have a deputy who is taking positions from morning to evening. I have said here before, Miriam, that in the morning the deputy president will adopt one position, in the evening you will adopt another one, and midnight you'll also come up with another one. So, Miriam, I think the high time has come for Kenyans to be able to know who their deputy president is, and also in the future, so that we can have an opportunity to vet these leaders. If they are liars and hypocritical and also hybrid conmen, political conmen, we can be able to deal with them at the ballot decisively, candidly, and also fluently, and deny them an opportunity to be able to take Kenyans in circles. Remember, Miriam, as I concluded this point, the deputy president and a raft of issues, around 6 of them came to 3. Now he has 2. The next minute you have 0. So that Kenyans can be able to see who is the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya, an hypocritical political conman who is also out to be able to deny his voter, his followers, a chance to be able to experience true leadership and true patriotism to country and to God.
Okay, thank you so much. And we're also joined by Daniel Wasonga. Daniel, good morning.
Very, very good morning to you, Miriam, at our head in Kobe. Very good morning to my friend Douglas Green and to our guest.
So we seem to be having a problem with your network there, but we also have, I think, another person joining us this morning. Good morning.
Okay, good morning to you all.
All right, very well. Tell us your name and what you do. Nganga.
Okay, good morning. Yes, I'm Ngana, and I'm very proud to join your panel.
All right, thank you so much, Nganga, for joining us this morning. And so we are looking at the BBI referendum. The debate still rages on, and we had the weekend, so that means we had a lot of political leaders making a lot of statements there over this BBI, and we saw, as the Standard has written here on page 8 of the paper today, they're saying Deputy President has been doing a lot of somersaulting, and he has turned too many degrees that I've lost count. Daniel, as is the Standard newspaper, correct in its assertion?
Yes, Miriam, as my good friend said there, that the Deputy President has been one politician who has always manifested it as it one point of opposition to another time. And I think for we need to principally pick the Deputy President. This is because the Deputy President has not having any picture the CPI.
Daniel, we seem to be having a problem with your reception. I don't know if you put it on audio, we'll be able to get you clearly. It seems to be cutting off, so we're not able to get what you're saying. Just try it like that. We see if it will make a difference.
Yes, as I was saying, Miriam, I believe the Deputy President has been manifesting some tendencies of pendulum swinging from one opinion to another in a very short time. And he has not been even truthful to his own supporters, because at one point he told them that he was not interested in the BBI report. He would not even take part in the discussion about the BBI to the Prime Minister and the President to square it out, and whichever conclusion to come out particular process. As you see, at some point in time, he abandoned that particular rhetoric, and he was so much to be involved in the BBI process. And he had to join the team of formers of Kenya. We are having the BBI too. And then he gave his recommendation that wherever he thought that they could, in order to factor his own demands. And that is what he's been, a very dishonest politician, someone who has not been able to stand and defend the previous. That is the only thing that making it even much harder for him to come out and be able to drum his support behind the BBI process.
All right. So, Daniel, I don't know if you're able to fix that. The reception is still not very clear, so maybe I'll just go to the next, as you work on it, and then perhaps you can join us back, because it's really you're being cut off and you're not able to really get the flow of your thoughts. So if you don't mind, if you're able to fix that, and then I'll come back to you. But I'll move to Nganga Mwangi. Nganga, you've been seeing how this debate has been ongoing, and the Standard newspaper this morning is just trying to trace DP and his journey, what they call on the front pages here, the road to Damascus, and the evolving journey that has been for Deputy President Dr. William Ruto, and the different turns and takes and the degrees he's been turning too many when it comes to this BBI process. Last week, he had a couple of issues that he wanted sorted, about 5, which he called and his team after the meeting on Wednesday the irreducible minimum, but yesterday he says now it's only 2. So maybe after 2 days he'll have 0 issues with the BBI. Maybe he'll come out and support the process. I don't know. Nganga, what do you make of this?
Okay, so we have been experiencing a very tough era where we have a Deputy President who is very undecided and so confused that we turn him as a watermelon. And just like the Standard today was trying to distract the Deputy President, saying that we are headed to Damascus. We all know that Damascus is the capital city of Syria, where 25,000 people were killed. So we might be heading to a tough time, as we all know that Ruto is a very fugitive person who may not forgive. And carrying the grudges on to 2022 might be leading our nation very tough times. The deputy president has been decided for a while. Last week, we have seen him come out to the public claiming that he supports the process, but the referendum must take place in 2022. This shows how confused the fellow is and how unserious he doesn't take the BBI process that is. And so, according to me, William is not for BBI and is not going to be for BBI elections.
All right, very well. Thank you so much. I don't know if you'll be able also to adjust your receptions. Your reception there is not very good, Nganga, but I'll come to you later there. And so, Douglas, this is a conversation we've been having over and over and over and over and over. Does this go to speak about the character or the leadership or the person that is Dr. William Ruto? When you are a leader, I think one of the key things or characteristics of a good leader is somebody who is stable in their thoughts and who is able to stand their ground and to move with something they're driven, something they believe in, but we've been seeing a change of thoughts here, as the Standard newspaper is calling it, somersaulting, a lot of it coming from Deputy President. And also he's changed too many degrees. One time he's asking for this, the next time he wants this. He keeps shifting this goalpost, so it's very difficult even to keep up with him, and I'm sure it could be a challenge even to his own supporters there. But what does this speak about the person that is the DP and who he is in terms of what he truly believes in?
Thank you, Miriam. That is a very good question, and it's a question that speaks about our foundation as a nation, our foundation as a family, and our foundation as communities of this nation, and also as a people. Remember, Miriam, across the world, we cannot be able to know who is who and what they stand for and who they are until they are given power. Remember, the deputy president has been practicing donated power via President Uhuru Kenyatta's presidency, because we have only one duly elected president of the Republic of Kenya, even according to the 2010 Constitution of the Republic of Kenya. The president of the Republic of Kenya is a symbol of national unity and also the end of government and end of state. But we have had an opportunity where the president has donated too much power to appoint, power to dismiss, and also power for deputy president to move around and also inspect the development projects across the nation and all that. We have seen a deputy president who has also overridden that fact that was donated power, and we have seen a deputy president who is a very smart liar, who rely on national television. The other day he was busy lying. Kenyans, the jury is out there. They know the issues that he spoke about, and also they know the instances where the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya has been able to come out as a leader that is not pre-fund for so many reasons, as a leader who can come out and lie, as a leader who can come out and deny even his own people. Deputy President William Ruto today, after engaging his people and getting them in trouble, he cannot be able to get them out of trouble, because Deputy President has been involved with a lot of shady characters, including his own nominations in this same government. He has nominated people of a questionable character. So we keep questioning what kind of a presidency will he be reading, what kind of his administration. We saw a situation where Kenyans encompassed William Ruto appointing people in the most sensitive Ministry of Interior, fugitives, and also people who are conmen and also graduates in this nation. We have seen Deputy President has no problem questioning morals of people that follow him, and including his own hypocritical manner, the way he conducts himself. He doesn't conduct himself in the caliber of the leader that he's supposed to be. A Deputy President is a man that's supposed to espouse values and also traits of honesty, decency, honor and also character of office that he holds. Remember, the office that the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya holds is the second highest office in the land. For example, we have seen many situations where President of the United States of America, President Donald Trump, has been able to break the moral fabric of family in the US and also the constitutional office that he owns. This is a leader that would go ahead and make claims of voter fraud and all manner of things. And even beyond that, his character and conduct as a president in the USA cannot be termed as something that the people of America can be able to emulate. So Deputy President has joined a list of infamous leaders across the world who have this opportunity to be able to expose traits of honesty, decency, character, leadership, and also great direction for the country. But what the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya has chosen, he has chosen an opportunity for him to be able to appoint more people in government. He has chosen an opportunity for him to show defiance and all that. I think many children and also young people that follow Deputy President think that for you to make it as a politician, as a leader in this country, you have to be a defiant man. You have to be a man that takes unpopular positions that don't benefit the country. Remember, Miriam, the other day we have been treated to a Deputy President who has brought irreducible minimums that now he has brought to 2. If they were irreducible minimums before, why can't he take a stand? Why should he not decide on the way that he shall go? The other day I saw him, and also this morning in the newspapers, he has said people shall not force him into a no camp. It is his character that is forcing him, because the Deputy President William Ruto is a man that is known not to cooperate with anyone or work with anyone. Everyone that works with him, they fall out with him in one way or the other. The people that works with Deputy President William Ruto in one way or the other owe him allegiance for their positions, because he bragged people using the shambolic Jubilee nominations, where he was the end of nominations, and also he has been accused, it is in public domain, he's been accused of giving out nomination papers to his own people. And also, Miriam, as I conclude on this point, it has shown us the kind of a leader that we cannot afford to have as a nation. It has shown us the kind of a leader that this nation does not deserve. This is not a leader that is a safe pair of hands that we can be able to praise the lives of our children and also ourselves, even the next generation of leaders. Because Miriam, it is a leader who has come out very clearly as a leader who exposes traits of dishonesty, political conmanship, and also hypocrisy. Miriam is a person, the person of Deputy President is a person that will lie in the presence of the president to counter the lie. The Deputy President to wake up and go to a central region, the coast region, western region, including his own Rift Valley, and lie on something that is in public domain and something that people knows. The other day, the man of God, Bishop Kamara from Western Kenya, went on to despair rise in parliament and said that the road the Deputy President said has been made, has been tarmacked, has not been tarmacked. A whole bishop, man of God in parliament, a member of parliament elected in the parliament of Kenya, and to be able to deny, had to come out very clearly and also ask a minister for transport to also maybe desist from sending Deputy President the wrong memos, that the road has been tarmacked, and Deputy President lied to masses without thinking that masses will be able to counter that after he has gone. So Miriam, we have so many instances in this country where the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya has been able to fall on his call for a higher moral authority and a higher standing for in terms of integrity, character, and also who he is as a leader and also a family man. We cannot afford to have a old father and grandfather in the public domain who rise about his opponents and also who rise about the Republic of Kenya and also rise about his stand as a person. We need people of integrity, and including voters in this country now should also understand that in future they need to be able to vet their leaders. In the category of Deputy President William Ruto, his friends, the former governor of Kiambu, Waititu, and Sonko, all those people, shady characters are associated with the Deputy President. We as the people of Kenya need to be able to make a decisive move in 2022 elections, be able to move and elect our leaders based on meritocracy and also the call for their own character and also integrity, Miriam.
All right, very well. Thank you so much. And you've mentioned there Donald Trump. You know, Donald Trump chose how he's been operating. You know, he's been quite delusional. He's been dishonest. He's been a liar. He's been his character has really been under question. But you know what? He actually committed to that. He chose to be all of that, and that is how he's been. He never changed. He committed to being all of that. He committed to being, I will not even say those names, but he committed. If you choose a cause, then you have to commit. If you choose stupid, then you have to commit to stupid. If you choose to do things the right way, then you have to choose to do things the right way. If you choose to be a person of character and you say what you mean and you mean what you say, then you have to commit to that. You can't keep wish-washing and dilly-dallying and back and forth and backpedaling and all of that. It is confusing, especially when you hold a very important office and you have a good influence on a number of, people in a country, like what we're seeing now in the United States. The Republicans who are hardcore supporters of Trump, they are confused. You say the elections were stolen. You say the system is rigged. You say they stole from you, but you still, yesterday, I think he was in Georgia, they're campaigning under the same platform, and and it's still the same electoral process that will be used to elect the senators there. So whatever you choose, you have to commit to it. All right. So now, early in the year, I'm still reading from page 8 of the Standard newspaper. Early in the year, Ruto's additional ground for opposing BBI was the manner it was scorning at competition. In August, he told a TV interview that he stood for competition. The same competition is now opposed to, but only as it regards the Constitution. I have a small problem with us making suggestions that may give the indication that we do not want a democracy. We do not want to compete, my friend, as he usually says. If we run away from democracy, where are we going? So this is what Ruto said at the beginning of the year. He said we need a competition, and for a democracy like ours, or any democracy in the world, competition is very healthy. And so he says if you don't, we have to compete, otherwise we shall be running away from democracy. But now he seems to be singing to a different tune, and from November, when it became clear BBI train was unstoppable, Ruto had begun to shift gears. He denied he had been cornered and claimed a stake in the handshake. It is wrong to reduce the constitution and repair process in BBI to Uhuru Raila affair. It is ours collectively. But remember, his calls for opposing this BBI process initially was that this was for an individual to gain, and especially Raila there. But now he's saying this is not President Uhuru Kenyatta Raila's affair. This is a collective duty for all of us, and we are either all in or all cornered. We must build bridges to the church, pastoralists, devolved units, and others to achieve consensus. He tweeted on November 11th. So the Standard was just trying to, they have a chronology of DP and his stance and the shifts in tones there when it comes to the DP and his stand there. What does this say generally of the Deputy President there, Ng'ang'a Mwangi? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
So we have had
please, Ng'ang'a, we have a problem with the audio. So if you could switch to audio, that would be nice, because we have a problem. I think you don't have a very strong signal there. But as you do that, Daniel, what do you make of, how would you judge, if you were to use that to judge the character of Deputy President, what will be your conclusion?
I think, Miriam, from the conversation that the Deputy President has been sprouting on BBI, he has painted a picture of a politician who does not believe in principle and who does not believe in the substance that he really portrays and preaches about. And therefore, they say for a man who stands for nothing, for anything, and such cannot be a leader, and especially one who wants to be the head of state of a country, because the presidency is a very, very big role, Miriam, for this country as a democratic country, because you'll be required, once you are the head of state, to make very, very tough decisions which pertains protecting the lives and the properties of the people of Kenya. And therefore, if it finds that you are a very, very filthy in principle and quite shaky when it comes to decision making, then it tells you that technically you do not qualify to be the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Republic of Kenya. And to me, on BBI, I think the deputy president is being dishonest simply because the BBI process does not automatically promise him of becoming the president in 2022. But as Douglas has said earlier on, if the BBI team will make William Ruto a third principal in whichever arrangement that is there, then he will be the first individual to give it an unwavering and quite very fervent support. But because that one has not been guaranteed, he is opposing that document. And that tells you that he is a man who is not supporting BBI, not because it's a bad document, but because he has some personal political ambitions that supersedes whatever good things, whatever recommendations that are in there in the BBI report. But so be it, Miriam. You know, when you look at the BBI arrangement, we have various party leaders who have come on board to be able to master a very strong force that will be able to propel this particular document through a referendum and to make sure that the rest of the country enjoys the good recommendations that are there in the document. So therefore, I see that the presence of President Uhuru Kenyatta as the Jubilee party leader should be as well be perceived as also the presence of the deputy president. However, due to his own personal reasons, the deputy president has come out clearly and quite sharply in his defiance and his divergent opinion against the BBI report, in total disregard on whichever position the president has been holding. And even that, the president has come out clearly and said that the deputy president, at the beginning of the BBI process, he was part and parcel of it. And therefore, that tells you that this is a man who is only disgruntled about this entire thing because his selfish ambition to acquire power in 2022 is so much interfering and pervading his vision and of a progressive Kenya, a Kenya which we are not divided by political rhetorics, a Kenya which is not divided by ethnicities or maybe religious, political, and social inclinations. So to me, I think the deputy president should put the interest of the Kenyan people first. And with that, I believe he'll be able to support BBI, not because he has been cornered as it is right now, not because he wants to send a picture out there that he really is working with his boss, but because he believes that the BBI process is a process that is people-driven, a process that is going to lead Kenya to redemption, a process that is a healing, a process that will ensure that never shall we again drift back into the ghosts and the horrors of 2007, 2008 post-election violence. Mm-hmm. I submit it, Miriam.
All right, very well, thank you. Nganga, I hope that you've changed to audio and perhaps you're closer to your phone so that you're able to hear what you're saying there. So DP here, the Standard has taken us back to January where he was against anything that looked like was anti-competition. And so right now he seems to have changed tunes. What he said in January, in August, he told a TV interview, in January, what I know is that there are a lot of initiatives to rally support for BBI, and that is most important. No, that is Irungu, but what the DP said there in January. So he was opposed to, and he stood for competition. That was in August. In August, he told a TV interview that he stood for competition, the same competition he's now opposed to. So that was just a couple of months ago. The DP was like, for our democracy to grow, and that is true. I agree with him. For our democracy to grow, then there has to be some healthy competition, not divisive competition, but healthy competition. And we're trying to work and get there because as it is right now, we know that our political competition gets this country in a lot of trouble. And so if you could come to a point where we can compete, but healthy, a competition that moves the country forward, a competition that does not divide us, then I think as a country would have gone a long way. In terms of our developing democracy there. So in August, the DP said, no, we need competition because competition is good. But now, the BBI is perhaps all said. I don't know if they will consider his suggestions of having a multiple choice referendum there. So if not, then that will mean it will be a competition, a contest there. And he's saying, no, forget what I said a couple of months ago about competition. But on the BBI, I think he's saying this will be divisive. This is not healthy for this country. So this double speak when it comes to addressing things that are over, national interest. How would you speak to this if you're looking at the DP's character there, Nganga? Okay, so I'll leave Nganga to sort out his signal problems there, and so maybe Okay, all right. So we're having a problem there with Nganga. So there's somebody else who also has a problem with the BBI, and the story is still on page 8 of the Standard newspaper, and that is Kibwana pinpoints illegalities in the process. And remember, even the DP side, initially when they were opposing this process, they were saying it is illegal. It is outside of the legal frameworks. And when he was having that interview with Joe Ageo a couple of days ago, he was pressed and he was asked, you believe this process is not legal? And he said, no, I only said it's outside the legal framework. So if you're saying the process is outside the legal frameworks, it is illegal, that's what you're saying. But still, this legal process you really are fighting to join and be part of. So that was a bit confusing. So somebody else who also has a problem with the legalities of the BBI process is Makueni Governor Kivutha Kibwana, who now has dug in on his resolve to oppose the proposed constitutional changes. In a media briefing yesterday, Kibwana argued that the process of amending the 2010 constitution is illegitimate from the very beginning and nothing can be done to cure the inherent defects. The law professor said he was concerned about how the proposed changes were initiated and the flaws it had assumed over the period. This is the first country in the world where constitutional changes have been effected through a Gazette notice process, he said. He explained that through the series of Gazette notices, the original BBI task force transformed into a steering committee which purported to collect people's views. He added that to date, Kenya lacks a law to guide a referendum process. So he says Kenya lacks a law to guide the referendum process. And on the other side, he says this process, it was an illegality from the get-go. So which one is which there? If you can help me out, Douglas.
Miriam, the professor is right. The good professor, governor of Makueni, Professor Kivutha Kibwana, is not an honest man, and I would declare him a so, because the record is true. Before Professor Kibwana jumped on his former ship of activism and also the civil society, and also joined the forces with the people that support Deputy President William Ruto, Professor Kibwana had no problem supporting BBI. Actually, he was moving around campaigning for BBI and doing all manner of meetings. Is the professor from Makueni, is the professor of law, telling us the BBI that he was supporting before, the constitutional changes that he was talking about before, is he telling us those values and also principles that he took to political podiums and also pulpits and everywhere? Is the professor telling us those values and also the points that he was talking about, the views that he was giving? Is the professor telling us he was not on his right mind? Is he telling us he was not sober when he was communicating to the people of Makueni and Ukambani, teaming up with Governor Charity Ngiru, Alfred Mutua, to do the BBI thing in Makueni and other places? No, the professor is not genuine. Remember, a country tomorrow is going to a referendum, Miriam. And these things came about, they did not come in his first attempt to run for president in 2005 or his second attempt. It came about when he was running for office, and afterwards he made those declarations that we need to be able to reduce terms of offices for the people that we lead as a nation, and also as your president, I propose these changes. Then they decided to go, and it emerged from a conversation, presidential conversation, and also conversation among the political class, even though the opposition are also opposing, and some quarters are opposing. It emerged into a constitutional change that is going to happen tomorrow, Miriam. Mm-hmm. And everywhere in many countries, remember President Putin brought the popularly known presidential sweeping powers bill, the one that they capped that, and it was his thought that they need to do some changes to the presidential system that they have, and also to the powers, to the unchecked powers of the president and all that. And they brought about a constitutional change, and across the world, people have done constitutional changes. His problem is that the initial plan of the task force morphed into a BBI, into a constitutional moment. That is not here or there. Everything has to have a start and also an end. The beginning of the end of BBI was this: we need to be able to solve our problems as Kenyans. And what do? Constitution, referendums are known as constitutional decision-making, a form of representation across the world. So we decided, as a people, these are our issues, and these issues can be able to be represented about the people of Kenya through a decision-making process known as a referendum, that the people of Kenya shall wake up in the morning and be able to cast their votes for or against the referendum. The cause from the Deputy President, Professor Kivutha Kibwana, the civil society, negates the fact that a section of Kenyans or a majority of Kenyans want a constitutional change to be able to effect their decision-making instrument of representation known as a referendum. Over 98 countries across the world, Miriam, have been able to effect these referendums to be able to have their way, and also have a way of representing their plans, their ideas, and also their views concerning their country, their governance, and everything through a referendum. And through a referendum, Miriam, countries do a decision-making form of representation known as a referendum. So what the professor from Makueni is saying today is not here or there, and also the idea of this issue of BBI process becoming a constitutional change process, having not been law, is not a problem. Why I'm having a problem from the professor is that the professor does not understand that the people of Kenya have come up with issues, and that is the beginning of a referenda. And this referenda can go as far as they want to change their constitution. It is the people of Kenya who have decided. Now we can be able to solve our problems, because this kind of a representation through a referenda means that they can be able to solve those people who go for referendums across 98 countries of the world believe that through referenda they can be able to use political instruments and also political processes like the BBI has a constitutional political process to solve their own problems. So we are being represented, and the views of Kenyans are being represented. People, including the church, is saying now the BBI process has been able to take off. We need to come in. Why are they doing that? Because they know the content of what they are saying. The content of what they are saying is the people of Kenya want to change the constitution and do a representation of their people through a decision-making process called a referendum, Miriam. So the professor from Makueni cannot outwink us, and before he was for the BBI process, and now he is opposing BBI process. Actually, it is few months ago, he was on the train that was taking the BBI process to a referenda on June 2021. But 21st, 2021. But as of now, the good professor from Makueni is being used by forces outside him, because he cannot tell us as a good professor, that there is no basis of what Kenyans are saying. Over 98 countries across the world, Miriam, including tomorrow, Liberia is going to do a referendum together with their senatorial midterm election. But these people are not before, when he changed his tune from supporting BBI, from attending BBI rallies and meetings, to the position that he owns today. The good professor has a good benchmark across the world. This is not actually the first time we are doing a referendum in this country, Miriam. We had one in 2005. We had one in 2010, which brought about the most progressive constitution as it's termed by experts across the world. The big question in the room is, whose interest is the professor from Makueni serving? The good professor from Makueni is not serving the interest of his people. He is a man that is led by his own thoughts and also his own personal gain, and also political greed, and also political advantages. So Miriam, we can call him the way he is. We can call him for who he is. He is a man who has been supporting the BBI process from the word Today he has changed his tune.
All right.
Actually, he has taken the opposite of what Deputy President William Ruto is. Deputy President was an opposer of BBI before. Today, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya wants to be enjoined on the conversation on BBI.
Wow.
The professor has bolted out.
He wants to be enjoined, but he's not saying he's supporting the process. And I'll come back to you, Daniel. There, I mean, Douglas.
Okay.
So Daniel, Professor Kivutha Kibwana, initially he was warm in regards to the PBI process, but over time he seems to have changed tunes because maybe he discovered from what he's saying that this process is legal and illegitimate. And also he goes ahead to tell us that in Kenya there are no proper laws that guide a referendum process. So you're going to tell us a process is illegal and illegitimate. At the same time, there's no law that governs the same process. So what is the barometer? How then do we say the process is illegal and illegitimate if you're saying also in the same breath that there are no clear laws to govern the whole process, to guide the process?
Miriam, on this one, I think I'll be very precise, candid, and quite straight to the point. You know, at the backdrop of the BBI conversation, political questions, political problems which are being solved. And therefore, that is why the other day, my good friend Kidi Mwaga said that we cannot talk about BBI devoid of the politics of the day. And I understand quite ably, and like many other like-minded Kenyans, where this disgruntlement by by Governor Kivutha Kibwana on BBI comes from. You have to go back to the Ukambani backyard where he comes from. We do have three prominent politicians, and that is Governor Alfred Mutua of Machakos. We do have Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, who is not an elected leader, but more the party leader of Wiper. And we do have Charity Ngilu. Actually, there are four. And when you look at these leaders, momentously, they have been having quite not some good time together. They have been having supremacy battles among them. And therefore, with the three major ones supporting the BBI, and all of them have at one point, particular point in time, harbored the presidential ambition of vying for president in 2022, then it tells you that Kivutha Kibwana is someone who sees no prospects in the BBI bandwagon, and perhaps he thinks that when they go, all of them, the four of them, to supporting the BBI, and as I said earlier, this BBI conversation will culminate into the realignments that will shape the 2022 presidential election. Then perhaps he sees that if he goes with the majority of campaign leaders in one side, then perhaps his own light will be so much dimmed by them. That is why he's siding with William Ruto. But when you look at William Ruto and you look at Kivutha Kibwana, who has worked with President Mwai Kibaki as an advisor at State House, then these are two people who have very different ideologies when it comes to politics, when it comes to principle, when it comes to matters of integrity. So I'll say that his union with the deputy president and his sentiments on the BBI are really a very, very sharp flight from whoever Kivutha Kibwana is. And it's just a marriage of convenience, Miriam. He's not, I believe, inside his heart, with his clear conscience, the man he is, I believe Professor Kivutha Kibwana is doing this just because, as like William Ruto, because of his own personal interests, but not because he believes that the document is really legal, as he terms it, but because he wants to be the president in 2022, and therefore he must align with someone perhaps who will give him a higher ground. And that is what he is doing. At the end of the day, the BBI process, the BBI document, whoever has read it, I read it twice, and I believe the BBI harbors whichever issues, whichever benefits that will accrue to a common man, that will make leadership in this country to be a worthwhile cause, that will make this country to achieve common goals of peace, unity, and shared prosperity. So to me, on Kivuza Kibwana, I think he's being very ingenuine. He's being also dishonest, and he is focusing more on his 2022 presidential ambition rather than aligning with leaders who are like-minded leaders who want this country to move forward in a very, very well-charted, united front of peace, prosperity, and fair and equitable representation and sharing of the national resources.
Right.
So I think he's more guided by his political ambitions more than the patriotic spirit of forging a common path for this country.
All right, very well. So as we conclude, there is an opinion piece on the Star newspaper, page 5, he is a political analyst by the name Elias Mutuma, and this is what he says: too early for Ruto to declare a no stand on BBI. And I'll just read a bit of that. What this political analyst is, it is an opinion piece. This is what this person thinks, and then I'd like to know if at all he's correct or not from your own opinion there, Daniel and Douglas. Deputy President William Ruto is headed towards outright opposition to the Building Bridges initiative and the referendum that we expect sometime next year. But he is aware that it is too early to do that because we are not in the campaign season yet. What? But we have been bombarded with campaigns since 2017. That never stopped. But apparently, this analyst says we are not in the campaign season yet, and the BBI signatures whose collection ended just the other day is yet to be taken to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission for scrutiny and verification. From there, the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2020 has to get the approval of at least 24 out of the 47 county assemblies before it is taken to Assembly for Parliament for consideration. It is after all these processes that a referendum date can be set and Kenyans vote on the proposed amendments. So it is still too early for DP Ruto to declare that he will outrightly oppose the referendum. I don't think he will announce his opposition to the bill until it is clear that we are going to a referendum and the date is set. So this is according to an opinion piece by Elias Mutuma on page 5 of the Star newspaper. So from what this political analyst here is saying, would that be the reason why DP is engaging us in a lot of somersaults as the standard they're referred to? He's just buying time until everything is clear, and perhaps he's not really interested in this consensus he's been calling for. Douglas, go ahead.
Thank you, Miriam. I want to agree with my friend Elias Mutuma, the political analyst who happens to be my good friend.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, he's my friend.
Okay.
Yes. One thing the Deputy President, we have said before, and you are also on record saying the Deputy President cannot come today and purport to support BBI process that from the inception he has not been supporting. In the middle ground, he has not been supporting. On the tail end of the BBI process, the Deputy President comes up with demands on something that doesn't believe in, doesn't subscribe in. He does not believe in the whole of the BBI process. And I believe those people that advise the Deputy President made a small mistake in whatever the Deputy President called for consensus and all that is hot air. And the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya is a man whose ideas and ideals, money and mouth is on the no campaign. And also we have seen the people that coalesce around the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, who are people that are supporting the civil society. And also we have seen Miriam, as a matter of urgent, President of the Republic of Kenya has perfected the heart of camouflage and political hypocrisy, where he can be able to plan to be talking to you today, and he is not doing that. And I believe that the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya is not true to his word and also true to the true spirit of BBI. And one thing I think the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya is gonna do at the end of the day is to oppose this document. And if he opposes the document now, he will be defeated by the time we are in 2021 for the referendum. So the Deputy President has to be giving different ideas. And also, at the end of the day, we hope that the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya will know the true voice of Kenyans and also their time at the referendum.
All right, very well. And Daniel, just before you come in, there is still some quotes here. A few people have been quoted here, still on the same page where there's that opinion piece on the Star newspaper, page 5. And DP William Ruto is quoted as saying, "From us, we are not interested in a contest. They have invited us into a contest. They're daring us into a contest. They're threatening us with a contest. They're telling them no, thank you." And then Aaron Cheriot is quoted here as saying, "These are fake signatures from M-Pesa agent booklets. Let them publish them if they believe they're genuine, because we know who the real people are." And then Kimani Ichung'wah there is quoted as saying, "We don't want a contest where some people are going to mobilize others to take on the DP. Leave Ruto to plan his hustlers and let us meet at the ballot in 2022. And Susan Kihika there is quoted as saying, "These people telling us that the train has left the station and that there is no luxury of time to listen to us are only interested in yes versus no contest so that they can have a political match. Why can't they wait for 2022 so that they can have that?" And then Moses Kudia there is also quoted as saying, "There are some people who don't want 2022 elections. They want BBI so that they can disrupt the plans and avoid the elections." So those are the thoughts of some of the leaders, of course, allied to Deputy President William Ruto. But when it comes to somebody like Susan Kihika, she has been against this BBI process. I remember Peleka Baba Ikulu and all Beba Baba or something like that. A lot of this, like, she has been outrightly against this process. So for her to now be the one calling for consensus, for her to be the one wanting the train to be stopped, and so that everybody else is coming in and they're not interested in the yes or no, while they have been traversing the country saying we are going to vote no on this document, and she's on record saying that. I don't know. Is it not confusing to their supporters even? Daniel, as we conclude.
Miriam, first of all, let me state categorically here on this show that that is a manifestation that one William Samoei Ruto is a lily-livered coward and who does not have the capacity to take on President Uhuru Kenyatta and his brother, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. And that tells you that these Tanga individuals have developed cold feet. Initially, they were very robust in their outburst and on BBI. And at one rally, I remember watching yesterday a file where the deputy president was telling a crowd that they should bring on the BBI debate so that they shoot it down on the ballot. So this sudden change of tune really tells you that all along we've been dealing with very, very serious cowards, people who cannot be able to even marshal their own support base to really face the proponents of BBI in a democratically steered process like a referendum. And therefore, as Douglas has said quite correctly, that William Ruto, I think for the longest he has in politics, knows that if he heads to a referendum with him on one side and the president and the former premier on one side, he has very, very flimsy chances of winning. It's very bleak, Miriam. He cannot win that particular referendum. And as I said, the results of the outcome of this referendum in 2021 will set a stage for 2022 presidential election in terms of even political realignments. And therefore, whoever loses the 2021 referendum should not even dare to stand an election in 2022. And that tells you that William Ruto knows quite well that he cannot be able to sail through in a referendum. And that if you're a politician of high intuition tells you that William Ruto has zero prospects even of becoming the president of this country. And therefore, to remain relevant in this particular realm, he has to keep people engaged in some unnecessary shadow boxing expeditions. And that is why they're calling for a consensus. And for Kenyans who are watching this, then it should have manifested upon them quite clearly that this consensus is not for the sake of including the rest of Kenyans as they claim. It is for including this particular political class individual, William Ruto and his close allies in the BBI process, so that their future political ambitions are well catered for. But as it is, Miriam, I think the BBI train has left the station. We are not going to have time for consensus. We are not going to have time for very needless and talks that will not be beneficial to the common man. So as it is, let us go to the referendum. William Ruto can marshal his forces, let them come under the no banner. And after we are done with the referendum, I believe the BBI will have addressed the issues of IEBC, which has been a very contentious issue, an issue which has always driven Kenyans into violence each and every general election. And from then, we can now be able to have a very peaceful, a very credible and transparent 2022 general election, which will give Kenyans leadership, which is up to task, leadership which is so much committed to implementing our constitution, which is so much committed in ensuring that our independent institutions are able to deliver their mandate and their services to the people of Kenya without bias, without any kind of intimidation, and without any kind of restraint. So I think, to me, Miriam, these are people who are not committed to having this particular talk, and they have developed cold feet, and they might as well abstain from the entire process. But it shall not elude our mind that they were never for this process, and only circumstances are forcing them to take whichever side they are taking, whether they will abstain from it, or whether they'll oppose it, or whether they'll support it. We knew their stand because they clearly declared it before these drive for signatures started. They were not for the BBI process from the inception, Miriam.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you so much, Douglas. And of course, with every passing day, it's becoming clear that a lot of these people who are opposing this BBI process, a lot of it was not based on reason or principle. Maybe it's just something personal. Maybe it's the people who are driving this process that they did not like. Maybe it's just other issues, but not really the issues that were captured here, because we've seen, like in the case of Deputy President and even those who are supporting him and others, not just him, they keep changing the goalpost. Today it's this issue, today it's this issue. The next day they come with the reducible minimums, and the next time they reduce their own irreducible minimum. I mean, that is just wonderful. So we shall continue to see this debate on referendum. Yes.
Before we conclude, I saw the Deputy President Raya again yesterday on a pulpit saying people should not push us into a no camp that we don't want to go, and they should forget that. Remember, Miriam, there's no written rule or law in this country that dictates to President Uhuru Kenyatta, the rest of majority of Kenyans, and the Right Honorable Raila Odinga that they should accommodate their opponents. But being the good people and also the people that Deputy President calls reasonable, they have decided to accommodate some of his views. But he keeps coming up with those views that he doesn't believe also himself in. And remember, Miriam, this is a man that has come out for the last 2 years to sabotage this process and do everything to oppose it. Okay. So the only sensible thing the Deputy President can do at this point in time, and also history will not be kind to him, if he does not do that, is that he can decide to keep quiet or go the no way. Because I don't understand how he is going to campaign for the BBI process that he doesn't even believe in. So my wish is that the Deputy President should stop talking to newspapers and also television people, telling them that people are pushing him to a no camp. He has been the leader of the no camp for the last 2 years and some months now. We cannot wish him away. He is a leader of the no camp, and he's supposed to go there and assume leadership from that end, Miriam. Thank you so much.
Martha Karua took over because maybe they were waiting for him to declare, but Martha Karua said, you know what? I'm the man in this race. I'll take over and I will proudly lead the no camp. So I don't know if I don't know, but let's just wait and see what the DP will say. So yesterday, of course, he was at GM there at Bishop Margaret Wanjiru's church, and the paper here finishes that story saying by the time he was stepping forward to offer a prayer at the invitation of Bishop Margaret Wanjiru at GM yesterday, many things were not clear, including what exactly triggered his road to Damascus moment. However, it was clear that what was separating Ruto from the yes side was growing thinner by the day. Like it was a whole list, and now it's thinning, which I think is a good thing. So this is the prayer that he said, Lord, we pray that you shall cause peace to be our portion in Kenya, that you shall remove all confusion, that Heavenly Father, it shall be clear that this nation belongs to you. He prayed at the GM sanctuary, and the church said, Amen. All right. That's a good prayer. We need peace and
But he is the head of confusion.
Yeah. But it's a good thing he's praying for clarity. I'm sure even at this point he's confused. So all of us, we need clarity.
Miriam, when you pray such a prayer,
especially from
yes,
him.
I've just read from
We're not going to criticize that prayer now. Let's just.
We are not criticizing the prayer, Miriam, but if you are confused and you are causing confusion in a moment, and then you come up with such a prayer, when you come in a room and tell people, the Lord, we are praying that you shall deliver people who are mad, and you are the mad person in the room, you know? He has had no clear direction as far as BBI conversation is concerned.
Maybe he was honest even for himself, saying, I also need clarity. I also need clarity on this multiple choice referendum. I also need clarity.
That prayer was very personal for him. It was personal prayer for him to deliver him from confusion.
And all of us, because it will make it easier for us to understand.
On that note, I've just read on our digital outlet, that is a Punchline Africa TV, that the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga has called on the church to take a stand on the BBI process and avoid having a double speak on it. I think that is what we should do from the church and also William Ruto. They should come out clearly and tell Kenyans where they stand. And from there, we shall have a very, very fruitful debate and engagement going forward.
Yeah, Lord grant us some clarity on certain issues. Amen. All right, so this some things that we missed out when we were looking at, we will not get into it. I'll just read the headlines there. And that is hope as rollout of coronavirus jabs begin this week. So that is something that we're looking forward to. And also somewhere there, that was on the Standard, the Daily Nation, Thika millionaire, my 75 days in captivity. I was made to wash clothes and utensils for the tenants. Once in a while, I was ordered to clean the compound. That is according to a millionaire, Mr. Julius Gitau. So he went missing 11 weeks ago, but yesterday, Mr. Julius Gitau, popularly known as Gitau wa Mali, showed up and told police he had been abducted after he was freed by his alleged abductors. Mr. Gitau went and spent the night at the home of his third wife. However, police are doubting his story. Mr. Gitau, ulikuwa wapi? All right, thank you so much. This has been the People's Court. We shall be back here at 3 p.m. this time with Diaspora Dispatches, where we shall be looking at some stories related to Africa. And as you know, right now, today, Ghana is going to its elections, as well as South Africa. President Cyril Ramaphosa is facing a vote of no confidence. What is really happening there? So we shall look at that, and I'll be joined by, today I'll not be by myself. Hopefully, the rest of the panelists will join me so that you're able to have these conversations. My name is Miriam Ogutu. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you later.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.